There's a lot of interesting stories coming out on Brian Mbeumo, Semenyo, and Benjamin Sesko today. Talk of Manchester United's bid for Semenyo. Now, I don't know if you remember, but about 2 months ago, Duncan Castles reported just after the transfer window closed that Semenyo early in the transfer window went for dinner with Ruben Amorim, and Man United have very strong interest in Semenyo. A bid went in for Semenyo. We're going to talk about that. Mbeumo, how many rivals he turned down to join Manchester United, the truth behind that move. But also, we're going to talk about Sesko's mindset and Sesko's attitude and some interesting stuff that's been revealed on that. We're going to talk about Joshua Zirkzee apparently being allowed to go out on loan, Shea Lacey training with the England first team, and the latest on the January window. What is most likely to happen? Who's our most likely target? That has all been revealed. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes for you guys. I know I normally do a live stream in the morning, and then I do my 10-minute roundup in the evening, but just really busy weekend, so that's why there's a load of videos at the moment, but we will be back live from Monday. So let's get into the news and info. So this first story came out from Sully. Sully is very well informed in and around Manchester United, and he got a bit of stick in the summer because he said something like a final bid went in for Brian Mbeumo, and then the deal was nearly done, and then obviously nothing happened for 3 weeks. But obviously the Athletic then revealed later on that what Sully said at the time was actually correct. United had put in this final sort of offer for Mbeumo and then kind of withdrawn it, so that's why nothing happened. But Sully's very well connected in the Manchester United space. Obviously he's got a lot of information right. And he knew a little bit about what's going on with the Mbeumo deal. And he interestingly said this: Tottenham are willing to go above Man United's bids and held multiple talks with Brentford to keep updated on whether the deal had fallen apart or not. There was a meeting internally at Brentford where the club were trying to convince Mbeumo to choose Tottenham due to the increased financial package. Mbeumo constantly declined. Now, if you're asking what this means, basically what this is saying is Tottenham offered more than us for Mbeumo. The reason the Mbeumo thing dragged on for 7-8 weeks is because I don't think we wanted to go over 65 million, but Tottenham are willing to pay 75 million. So Brentford were like, just go to Tottenham. They're going to pay 75 million. Go for Tottenham. They'll pay 10 million more. Tottenham knew that Mbeumo wanted Manchester United, but Tottenham really wanted Mbeumo, but they knew that he wanted Man United. So they knew the only way they could get Mbeumo is offer an amount that Man United weren't willing to offer in the hope that Brentford would force Mbeumo to change his mind. Mbeumo didn't change his mind despite Tottenham offering 10 million more. And Brentford then had to negotiate with Man United at 71 million. So we had to up our bid to 71 in total, but we didn't reach the 75 that Tottenham offered. But we obviously didn't want to go to 65 million. And I think we made a 65 million bid and then walked away. But I think when we walked away, we probably told Mbeumo deep down we'll come back. So then when Tottenham were going in for Mbeumo, because Man United walked away, Mbeumo just kept saying no to Tottenham. So Tottenham were really, really pushing to get Mbeumo over us. And potentially if Mbeumo wasn't so set on Manchester United, he could have gone to Tottenham. I'm so glad we got Mbeumo. He's definitely been our best summer signing. He's been absolutely mint. I think he's arguably been the best winger in the Premier League this season. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that because we could have potentially lost him. But I have to say, Ineos, I think they did a good job this summer in terms of we got Cunha, we got Mbeumo, we got Le Mans. We managed to force that Højlund on eventually. I think we basically tapped up our targets sort of behind the scenes, knew that our targets wanted us and would reject everyone else for us, and in the hope that that could pull the price tag down. Let's continue on into the next story on Semenyo. Bournemouth rejected 50 million offers from Man United and Tottenham, another Tottenham rejection, for Anton Semenyo at the start of the summer, and they fought off bids for 3 other first-team players before the end, was said by Jason Burt of The Telegraph. Now, Manchester United made a bid for Semenyo. Man United wouldn't make a bid for a player unless they were interested. Man United clearly support that Mbeumo was worth more than Semenyo, and that is fair with Mbeumo's output. And obviously we prioritised Mbeumo and Cunha over Semenyo, but we do like Semenyo. And there is talk that United want to add another attacking player they think could play wing-back. Semenyo, left wing-back, can also be another player for the left 10 role. I think if we're not in Europe next season, we probably can't do it. But if we are in Europe next season and we need that rotation, Semenyo can play left 10, he can play left wing-back. I think Semenyo would be phenomenal. Man United even made a 50 million bid for him. Now, Semenyo, I believe, signed a new deal and a release clause at Bournemouth, which is around 75 million now. So it'll be interesting to see if Man United go up to 75 million this summer, especially when we know that we're probably going to have to drop 150 million on 2 midfield players. So I don't know if we'd go up to 75 million on Semenyo. It'll be interesting to see what we do there. But then we've got Cunha for 60 million, we've got Mbuma for 70 million, and Sesko for 70 million, and we seem to have more money than we think. I think with European football, it's possible. Semenyo was always open to the move. There was a feeling his first choice is Arsenal, but we had dinner with Semenyo. We made bids for Semenyo. There is an interest by United in Semenyo, but he obviously signed a new deal because we offered Cunha a lot more than him and Mbuma a lot more than him. We'll have to see what happens. So I want to talk about Sesko and his mindset because James Ducker released this interesting article, which is why I'm not worried about Sesko. Sesko's been getting a lot of slander, a lot of stick, and a lot of people saying, I just know he's going to be a flop already, which I think is over the top. I don't like that Gary Neville jumped on Sesko after the Forest game. Sesko had like 4 good games in a row. 2 of those games were particularly good. Had a bad game versus Forest. Gary Neville jumped on him. Had a very bad cameo versus Tottenham. People have jumped on him. But Sesko's so young. He's so raw. He's still better than Højlund. He still offers more than Højlund. You can see it. We all knew we needed an experienced striker. Look at the impact that Cavani, Zlatan, Ronaldo had on us compared to younger strikers that we brought in. But I still think with Sesko, there's a player there, and I'm quite confident he will succeed. And this is one of the reasons why, is his mindset, his attitude. I think it will change. I think Sesko's attitude will change everything. James Ducker said, he's seen as a model professional and clean living player, exactly the type United prioritises to rebuild the dressing room culture. One thing that I think is particularly interesting, and there's been a few reports on this, is how Manchester United are going out of the way to make sure they bring in the right kind of players with the right mindset and mentality, not the Jadon Sancho type players anymore. He regularly arrives at Carrington at 8 a.m, which is very early, and he stays late for post-training routines, massage, saunas, ice baths. He gets to training early, he leaves training late, he does all that extra work that he needs to do. And it was said that United hope his professionalism and mindset help him grow into a world-class talent. He rejected big money move to Arsenal last summer because he wanted to spend another year focusing on his development. He does seem to prioritise his development and his career over other things. I think there's a confidence issue with Sesko, and I think being at Man United and the pressure of the world on you isn't going to help. But I think that there's a lot of positive signs in regards to Benjamin Sesko at Man United. Let me know your thoughts. Let's talk a bit of transfer news then. So Man United are targeting Adeyemi and Angelo Stiller, according to the Chayas. Adeyemi, I don't know where he's going to play. I don't see him as an amorim player. Angelo Stiller's definitely one to watch. I think Stuttgart can pay him 2 million and increase his release clause, so I don't think he's going to be available for the 36 million that we would like to see him available for. There's been a lot of talk of Joshua Zirkzee going out on loan. Man United won't let it, la la la. Maynor will be forced to stay. I can't see us letting Maynor go out on loan unless we bring in Conor Gallagher, but I could see Zirkzee going out on loan. And now there's reports saying that Zirkzee might be allowed to leave on loan with no obligation to buy. AC Milan and Roma are interested. I think the way United see it is, if Sesko's injury isn't serious, and we've got no Europa League football, no cup games, we need to give Zirkzee the minutes. If he gets good minutes and plays well, we can either get a bit more from him in the summer, or if we're in the Europa League or Champions League next season, then we'll need Zirkzee as a squad player. I think that's the way that United are thinking. Zirkzee obviously doesn't want to leave Man United, but he's now not getting minutes, so he's like, I kind of need to leave. Nathan Salt said that Manchester United Academy star Shea Lacey is one that Carsley is looking at so much that he's drafted the 18-year-old into training sessions this week. So Shea Lacey's been called into England training sessions again this week. And Lee Carsley even said on Shea Lacey, he's been in the pathway for a good amount of time, and now he's a player that we highly rate. You can see that he's a good talent. I know he's struggled with injuries in the past, which has probably held back his development, but I think it's so important we don't rush these young players, we let them develop in their own time. But obviously Shea Lacey has had training sessions with the first team. He's now having training sessions with Leeds Carsley on England under 21s, and is very highly rated, and we're going to talk about him later on. And then last but not least, we've got a couple other stories on the transfer window. Peter Hall said this: Man United's recent resurgence has led to the club to look towards the summer rather than January for transfer targets. Even with the loss of several key stars at the AFCON, the plan remains to focus on long-term targets. I've said this many times in my live streams. United will bring someone in January if it's someone that they would have wanted in the summer but can get in January. We want Baleba, Elliot Anderson, Wharton in the summer. But if we could get one of them in January, we will go for it. We just don't think we can get one of them in January, which means like the most realistic target is looking like Conor Gallagher. Ben Jacobs said that. Gallagher wants 1 minute of the World Cup. It is the most likely deal. There's João Gomez links. There's obviously links to a few other young players. Look, if we can get Elliot Anderson, we will go for him in January, but it doesn't look like he's going to be available in January. Baleba, I think, is the most realistic to be available in January. But again, it's not going to be an easy deal to do. We know what Brighton is like. Anyway, people, I hope you enjoyed today's 10-minute roundup. Please do hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to subscribe if you're new. I will be back with another update tonight if there's any news, and if there's not, I won't be. Thank you for watching. Bye.